I trained in New York at the French Culinary Institute, which is also known as the International Culinary Center. I enrolled in the full-time Grand Diplôme program, so I'm classically French trained. I specialize in pastry arts, and I never looked back. I took it from there and started working at a magazine called Saveur and a nonprofit organization called Slow Food USA. And I started one of their first inner cities Slow Food in Schools project in Harlem in New York. And this was a school that is smack in the middle of Harlem. There are no great grocery stores around. It's a really, really impoverished area. These kids deal with abuse on many different levels on a daily basis. And they basically just struggled to keep the doors open to the school. And I was a math tutor there, and I was working with Slow Food, and I was like, you know what? Slow Food in Schools needs to come to places like this. And so I began Harvest Time in Harlem, and that became an after-school program where we taught all the kids about making wise food choices and where their food came from. And we even took them on a class trip to Whole Foods, which is a large grocery store, which is only a few blocks away. It's downtown, and it was like taking them to another planet. We held up corn on the cob. Nobody could identify it. We held up broccoli. Nobody knew what it was, you know, because these kids had only ever seen it canned or frozen before, and because of that, nobody wanted to eat it either. So there was this whole thing of trying to get the kids, these are third and fourth graders, you know, to try new foods, to eat vegetables, to realize that there was a connection from garden to table, and to you know, understand that food comes from somewhere. You know, we would ask them simple questions like where does honey come from? And they would say bears, because they've only seen like the little honey bear container, or like, you know, what animal does beef come from? And the hands go flying and they say moose, or like, you know, so there was such a disconnect of where food comes from and what type of food choices that you should make. And one time we took the kids up to a farm in Blue Hill and Stone Barns, and these are kids who wouldn't touch any vegetables at all. Like, a vegetable was ketchup to them. And by the end of the day, they were fighting over carrots that they had pulled out of the ground, shoving them into their mouths, and fresh mustards, greens, and zucchinis. It was absolutely amazing. Intellectual aspiration, I think, is a mission that every human being on the earth should have, just to have a constant quest for knowledge and curiosity, for life, for you know, miscellaneous facts, for anything that you want to do, just learning a language, learning how to do a new sport. I mean, it's what life is about. It's about having fun, you know, and it doesn't necessarily have to be something that's totally academic, you know. Learning to hang out, learning how to dance, or, you know, learning how to cook or something, you know. It's what life is a journey, and learning new things is part of the adventure. Women have to support each other in business, particularly in businesses like mine where there are no women. And, you know, I'm coming from a lot of male-dominated areas. You know, first I was an engineering major where there were no women, and the women that were there didn't look like women. And then I went to a trading floor, which is another testosterone arena. I was the only female in my entire group that wasn't a secretary, you know. I was the only female professional. And then I go into kitchens, so it's a bit of this weird life, and of always wearing, you know, the man's pants, I guess. But interestingly enough, I went to an all-girls school from kindergarten to 12th grade. So I went from just being around chicks my entire life to being around guys. And I don't know, maybe it's part of my all-women's education that taught me from a young age to always speak my voice, to speak up, to take leadership positions, to support other women. And I think that there are women who do support other women. I personally am a massive advocate for more females in a number of different fields, and doing non-traditional female roles, like being chefs and being managers of banks, and, you know, going into some of the hard sciences. Like, you see a lot of women in you know, doctor roles, biology, chemistry, but not necessarily in computer science or physics or things like that, you know. You know, it's something that we all have to do to come together to become more powerful. And when we are, you know, it's I don't know how to explain it. Gosh, it's when, you know, many voices makes for a louder chorus, and then more people will hear you.